10-year-old Jojo Betzler stares into his bedroom mirror, hyping himself up with his best friend, an imaginary goofy version of Adolf Hitler. This Hitler isn't real. He's a childish fantasy only Jojo can see. Today is Jojo's first weekend at Hitler Youth Training Camp, and he's terrified of failing. Imaginary Hitler tells him he's got the mind of a snake, the body of a wolf, and the courage of a panther. Jojo repeats it back to himself and marches out the door, past crowds saluting each other and soldiers marching in formation. Posters of the real Hitler cover every wall and shop window along the way, a sign of just how deep the propaganda runs in this town. At camp, Jojo checks in with Captain Klenzendorf, a bored, one-eyed officer who clearly doesn't want to be there, and his awkward, nervous second-in-command, Freddie Finkel. On the girls' side, Fraulein Rahm lectures about a woman's duty to have as many babies as possible for Germany, bragging that she's already had 18 herself, then teaches first aid alongside bedmaking. Jojo reunites with his timid best friend Yorkie, and the two stick together through a weekend of knife drills, book-burning, fake grenade tosses, and marching chants praising Hitler. Jojo throws himself into everything. He's desperate to prove he belongs. But one final test is still coming, and every boy in the yard knows failing it means never living it down. Later, a group of older boys shoves a live rabbit into Jojo's hands and orders him to snap its neck to prove he's tough enough to be a real soldier. Jojo freezes, staring at the animal, shaking in his grip. The older boys start chanting at him, louder and louder. He can't do it. He sets the rabbit down and watches it hop away. The older boys erupt in laughter and brand him Jojo Rabbit. Humiliated, he runs off crying. Imaginary Hitler catches up to him and tells him not to be ashamed. Rabbits aren't cowards, he says. They're clever and brave in their own quiet way, and pushes him to go prove his toughness some other way. Desperate to redeem himself, Jojo wanders over to a table where Klenzendorf is demonstrating grenades to older recruits. The second no one's looking, he grabs a live one off the table just to show off. He pulls the pin as a stunt, panics, and hurls it badly. It bounces off a nearby tree, rolls back, and lands right next to him before exploding. Jojo is thrown to the ground, badly injured. He wakes up later in a hospital bed with deep scars across one side of his face and a permanent limp in one leg, the price of trying to prove something no one asked him to prove. His mother, Rosie, nurses him back to health over the following weeks. Once he can walk, Rosie takes him straight to Klenzendorf, now demoted, along with Finkel and Rahm, to running a shabby pamphlet office because of the grenade incident. Rosie insists Jojo still be given small jobs so he doesn't feel left out, even though his injuries mean he can never be a real soldier. Klenzendorf reluctantly agrees. From then on, Jojo spends his days handing out propaganda leaflets and collecting scrap metal with Yorkie. Then, alone in the house one afternoon, Jojo hears scratching coming from inside the wall of his late sister Inga's old bedroom. He finds a loose panel, pulls it open, and a teenage girl stares back at him. Her name is Elsa Kor. She's Jewish. Jojo grabs a knife and tries to threaten her, but Elsa wrestles it away in seconds and pins Jojo to the floor. She warns him that if he tells anyone she's here, the Gestapo will arrest and kill his mother for hiding her. That's when it hits Jojo, cold and sudden. His own mother, Rosie, has been secretly sheltering a Jewish girl in his house this whole time, living just feet from his bedroom, and never told him a thing. Elsa explains that Rosie found her and took her in after her family was taken away. She makes it very clear she isn't leaving, and she isn't letting Jojo expose her. So instead of turning her in, Jojo decides to use her. He tells her he's writing a book exposing the truth about Jewish people straight out of Nazi propaganda and starts interrogating her for material. Elsa, half amused and half cruel, feeds him wild answers. Jews can read minds, hide horns under their hats, sleep hanging upside down like bats. Jojo takes it all seriously and fills a sketchbook titled Yoo-Hoo Jew with grotesque drawings. Over repeated visits, despite himself, he starts looking forward to talking to her more than he'd ever admit. During one visit, Elsa tells him about her boyfriend, Nathan, off fighting somewhere with the resistance. To keep her spirits up, or so he tells himself, Jojo starts secretly writing fake letters and signing them as Nathan. At first, it's a cruel trick meant to embarrass her, but the letters slowly get kinder the more he writes them. In return, Elsa teaches him small practical things, like how to properly tie a necktie, quietly filling in the gaps left by the father he never had.
Meanwhile, Rosie takes Jojo on a walk by the river and ties his shoelaces for him, since he still hasn't learned. She tells him love is the most powerful thing in the world. As they get up to leave, Jojo realizes she's secretly tied his laces together as a joke, and he trips chasing after her, both of them laughing. On the way home, Rosie asks him to just be a normal kid again once the war is over. She's hiding more than just Elsa. She's secretly working against the regime. Then comes a sharp knock at the door. Elsa bolts upstairs to hide as a group of Gestapo agents arrives, led by a tall, soft-spoken officer named Captain Diertz. Klenzendorf and Finkel show up moments later, claiming they're only dropping off leaflets. Diertz insists on searching the house anyway. He admires Jojo's wall of Nazi posters, then starts heading upstairs, straight toward Inga's old room. Jojo panics. Elsa is still hiding right there. Suddenly, Elsa steps into the doorway, dressed in Inga's old clothes, pretending to be Jojo's sister. Diertz demands her papers. Under pressure, she reads out the wrong birth date. Diertz gets distracted by the Yoo-Hoo Jew sketchbook, laughing at the drawings and thanking Inga for the entertainment, before finally leaving empty-handed. Elsa is safe, but badly shaken. She tells Jojo the danger isn't over, that it's only a matter of time before it comes back around. Klenzendorf quietly tells Jojo afterward that the Hitler Youth Office is being shut down, and there's little work left for him. Soon after, Jojo is walking home from collecting the family's food rations when he notices a crowd gathered near the town square gallows. He follows a butterfly drifting ahead of him and wanders closer, then freezes. A group of resistance members has been executed and left hanging in public as a warning. Jojo looks up. He recognizes one of them by her shoes. It's his mother. He collapses at her feet, hands shaking, trying to tie her loose shoelace the way she always tied his, but he still doesn't know how. He never learned in time.
Back home, Jojo's still in shock. He finds Elsa and, overwhelmed with grief and rage, attacks her with a knife, cutting her shoulder before collapsing into sobs on the floor. Elsa doesn't retaliate. She holds him instead. Later, wandering the city in a daze, Jojo runs into Yorkie, now conscripted as a real soldier despite his age. Yorkie delivers the news. American and Soviet forces are closing in on the town, and Adolf Hitler has killed himself. The local command scrambles to defend the town, dragging Hitler Youth boys, Jojo and Yorkie included, into the fight. Klenzendorf, back in active command role, orders Finkel to round up dogs for the defense. Finkel returns with actual soldiers instead. As Soviet and American forces storm the streets, chaos erupts. Boys throwing grenades, dodging gunfire. Jojo is swept up in the fighting and captured, along with a group of other boys, by Soviet soldiers. The soldiers begin sorting the captured Nazis for punishment. Wounded and bleeding, Klenzendorf spots Jojo lined up among the prisoners and makes his choice. He rips off Jojo's Hitler Youth coat, calls him a Jew instead of a Nazi, and spits on him for show, shoving him toward the group of spared civilians. It works. The soldiers drag Jojo away to safety. Klenzendorf himself is taken away and later executed by firing squad. Jojo runs home, shaken but alive, and finds Elsa packing a bag, believing the war might finally be over. Terrified of losing her, he lies and tells her Germany won. He reads her a new fake letter, claiming he and Nathan arranged a way to smuggle her safely to Paris. But Elsa senses something is wrong and finally tells him the truth. Nathan died of tuberculosis the year before. There was never any real correspondence. Overwhelmed, Jojo tells Elsa he loves her. She tells him she loves him too, but only the way she'd love a little brother. At that exact moment, imaginary Hitler storms in, furious that Jojo has sided with Elsa over everything he represents. He shouts and rages, accusing Jojo of betrayal. Jojo has had enough. He grabs Hitler and kicks him straight out the window, ending the imaginary friendship for good. Before they step outside, Jojo kneels down and ties Elsa's loose shoelace, something he was never able to do for his mother. He leads her outside the house for the first time in a long while. Elsa looks around and sees Allied soldiers occupying the town and realizes for certain that Germany has lost the war. Furious at being lied to, Elsa slaps Jojo hard across the face. For a second, neither of them moves. Then the tension breaks. Out in the street, with a David Bowie song playing in German and Allied tanks rolling past in the distance, Jojo and Elsa begin to dance, free for the first time of everything that came before. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.